België, nummer 36, Kevin Suarez Fernandes. For the Netherlands, with number 23, voor Nederland, nummer 23, Ryan Kamp. Voor België, met nummer 7 voor Belgium, nummer 7, Gerwin Kuipers. Voor Frankrijk, nummer 20, pour la France, avec le Saint-Fin, David Menu. Voor Nederland, nummer 28, voor de Netherlands, nummer 28, Corné van Kessel. Voor Poland, nummer 50, voor Polen met Sven.
The Swiss rider pulls off the gold medal. Smith basically collapsing at the line from the effort. It's the biggest moment of his life.
So welcome to the final race of day 3, the final race of our World Championships for 2023 here in Hoogerheide in the Netherlands. It's our men's elite race. Some great riding in the area. Well, you can see the crowds are absolutely packed out. They're looking forward to some great racing. We had some good racing last year. Will it match up to the excitement with Tom Pidcock ahead as they came over this key section in the Fayetteville course? It was the springboard that set Superman loose, and it was Pidcock who came across to take victory from Lars van der Haar and Ellie Isabit behind. Tom Pidcock not going to be taken to the start line to defend his title here in Hoogerheide, and he's missing out on a cracking course that is incredibly fast and getting faster as the day goes on. The course comprising of 2 pit areas along with the woods twist turns, a very fast descent. We have a triple bridge for the riders to go over. The hurdles on the way back in may well favour one of the riders here today, and of course that infamous climb up to the finishing line, that if the racing is close will mean that it's a very technical sprint in. Keeping an eye on that sprint, if it does unfold, will be our commissaires. There are race referees. They're here to make sure that all our riders behave themselves. And as you can see, the British riders are taking numbers 2 and 3 as the team of the defending champion Belgium, with a huge squad here today. The USA, Netherlands, Switzerland, Spain, the Czech Republic, all represented. In fact, 40 riders across 18 nations due to take to our start line here today. The riders are lined up down on the grid and lined up in order of their positions in the World Cup Series from 1 to 8, and it means that Matthew Van der Poel on the front row of the grid, Wout van Aert hidden behind in the blue with the Red Bull helmet on there. That is the man who is expected to challenge up at the front. So our riders up and away as we work our way across. Matthew Van der Poel, one of the big 3, 2 of the big 3 here today, with that non-attendance of Tom Pidcock, and the rival is behind. There he is, Wout van Aert, poker-faced on the way through. It'll be a really interesting battle, and of course team considerations will come into play. Lars van der Haar here, the silver medalist from last year, rider who has had repeat victories. He's a regular medalist in the Worlds against Kevin Kuhn, who is on really good form at the end of the season. In that season-long competition against Laurens Fick, who took the overall win in the World Cup. It was Michael van Torenhout who challenged the closest, though. Libby Ellie Isabit's a chance to move up her from 3rd place of all of the regular riders. He's always on the scene, but yet to take away an elite title, something that maybe not all that long ago we'd have expected him to do. There's Van der Poel on the line as well, and again another rider who could be in the mix with Tim van der Bush. However, it is going to come down to, will we see that fight between Mathieu van der Poel at the Grand Prix Andre van der Poel, named after his father, who's a former world champion. So the crowd are ready, the riders are ready. They are going to see the tape withdrawn. The sell-out crowd here is absolutely jam-packed. Well over 40,000 people packing in official capacity, plus VIPs, well, plus all the crew and the family and friends. Here we go, who's going to get that quick start off from the line? They all want to take the right-hand turn as they go away, right up at the front, but Lars van der Haar comes across at the tip of the arrow. He takes a very quick start. Lars van der Haar, one of the riders to do well on this course. It's, of course, he regularly can dominate on it. He's a good technical rider. He can handle the fast pace, but this is blisteringly quick. Now, Wout van Aert moving up from second row. He's up into fourth position. Fast corners coming up. This is a long, sweeping, flat right-hand bend. It goes into a long left, takes us past the pit for the very first time. And you can see at the moment there are 3 Netherlands riders are just being pushed here. Joris Nieuwenhuis is the second of the riders with the red helmet in that Dutch strip, being pressured by Wout van Aert with the multicolour helmet just trying to chase down. And at the moment, hard to look beyond the fact that we are likely to see those big 2 in a battle for the lead, but there is no quarter given. A massive lean on the shoulders as it came around that turn there. You could just see Laurens Fick putting the pressure on a flyer there as it came around. Japanese rider going absolutely flying. That is here. Oda just going off the side of the course, but we're seeing it shoulder to shoulder. Now Laurens Fick and Joris Nieuwenhuis are pushing against each other in the previous corner, choosing to be a little bit more careful coming in here. The left-hand side for the riders is the deeper rut, and it's the line that is fastest round that turn. So at the moment it's Van der Haar leading out from Van der Poel with Van Aert. Nieuwenhuis, Fick is a bit good. Van Toren out, then Koinua, then Van der Bosch, Hendricks, Van der Poel and Kuipers. So down onto this fast descent they go. Nieuwenhuis is putting it down. You can see how fast these riders are going. It's very loose. It looked like another issue on the way down there. Could well have been Kevin Kuhn who went slightly squirrely down there. Has he made it in one piece? He has. Look at this. It is going to be incredibly fast down that descent. We've seen issues on there in previous races, but this start is key here today. So the World Championships final race underway with Lars van der Haar leading out, ever popular rider. He's a rider who won his first elite medal back in 2013, taking a bronze. Well, can he get himself up on to the top step? He's got the big 2 behind the Nieuwenhuis. Goes through Speak is a bit right up in the mix as well. And look how many riders. A long way down to Felipe Otzos, the first of the riders there from Spain as they come down past the VIP sections. This huge VIP section absolutely packed to the rafters. They need a triple decker, never mind a double decker to support all the people cheering on here now. Gap starting to open behind the first 4. This is a very slick section, of course. Watch out if we see attacks, if we see moves on here, because when the riders are really under pressure, particularly later in the race, this has been the slickest section as we see. Van der Poel on that climb, moving up into the lead. So Mathieu van der Poel on home ground, he looks around the corner, moves up, and now Wout van Aert just being drifted back a little. He's just got Lars van der Haar easing off at the moment. Now Van Aert has got to move. We thought it'd come down to a battle between these 2. It's already opened up. The first salvo being fired by Van der Poel against Van Aert. Van Aert has had more wins overall this season, but Mathieu van der Poel has had more World Cup wins this season. We've seen them battling out since they were younger. And look at Joris Nieuwenhuis, who's absolutely flying to keep up in that 4th place spot, but 2 riders clear. No surprises that it's Van der Poel and Van Aert who have got the race lead. Behind them, Van der Haar followed by Nieuwenhuis. They're already 3 seconds down. Tight left-hand turn here, very well-rutted section here. Just see the riders just making sure they keep us safe. Van der Poel kicking out, Van Aert generally sitting down slightly low. This course designed by Mathieu van der Poel's father. That is Andre van der Poel, the multi-time champion. The question has it favoured Matthew van der Poel? They have been very well matched all the way through. They avoided battling against each other at the last round of the World Cup, with a victory at Hammer going to Wout van Aert. The last round of the World Cup going to Van der Poel. Van der Poel absolutely flying though. They had a massive sprint as they came into the finish. Bet on one of the most exciting World Cup races I think I've seen for a long time. But it's Van der Poel keeping the pressure on here. Van Aert's just a few bike lengths off. Well, they've got themselves clear of trouble, but the two race leaders are now 7 seconds of air between them and the chase from Lars van der Haar behind. So we're going to take a left-hand turn. We're going to go onto the climb and into the hurdles. Now, traditionally, Matthew van der Poel, the more proficient rider, bunny hopping the planks, the barriers as they come in. He's in the lead here. Oh, Wout van Aert over there, keeping it smooth on the way through, very focused and nothing to choose at this stage. Onto the top of the bank, and it is Van der Poel leading out, and it is a cavalry charge behind a number of riders a little bit further back, having to run once you go into the congested area of that pack. It's much more difficult to pick a line. You may not get the best takeoff point as they come down. Van der Poel's taking a slightly wider line into that on the left-hand side, but both are riders down safely. And on to the steps, 34 steps running up. It's known as the Stairway to Heaven, and that's probably because most of the time you're seeing stars when you hit the top of those steps as we traverse across the top what is normally just a plant garden to some. It is a playground for these riders. They drop down onto the tarmac. They're going to hit that start line and go up through underneath the finish for the first time. Two riders clear at the end of lap number 1. It's Matthew van der Poel with Wout van Aert from Belgium on his heels. The big two underway as they come up. Our camera tracking as they come up to the line, and that is a blisteringly quick lap. 6 minutes to 28.1 for the actual lap time. 6 minutes 41 of racing complete. This is the chasing group. Now we set off not all that long ago with 40 riders together, and it's just one long line. The pressure is on. If it eases off, they'll be all over the road. At the moment, there is one after the other. They're just staring at the hub of the rider, and they're trying to stay on that back wheel, but you can see the gap that has opened between the front of the race and that chasing pack. 16 seconds at the line. Now Van der Poel out. And pushing on, he's going to be glad that there is not much running. It is a very fast course. Van der Poel has had back issues during the duration of the season, and at the end of the Zonhoven round of the World Cup looked absolutely in despair. And he didn't even know whether he was going to continue to ride to finish the season. Now back to his best, and really looking like he has pulled something out of the bag at the end of the season. Both riders are racing against each other for a long time now. They know each other inside out. They know each other's strengths and weaknesses as we track through the woods following Van der Poel, who is leading. Wout van Aert at the moment sat behind. He's not come up on the shoulder of Van der Poel. He won't do so through here. It really is one fast line. Once you go offline, you're going to lose ground. So to the right hand, they go up on to the left, using that bank to carry the pace and the speed round into the drop down. That's the loose section. Now that was muddy, it's dried out, it's really dusty as you drop down there and onto the lower Heide. Hoogerheide literally means high heath, and this is the lower heath section below. There's not a lot of height gain as you go from the upper to the lower. Look over the shoulder there from Van der Poel, just seeing whether or not he was going to have Van Aert come round. Colombian rider just heading out on to the course, out on his first leg, gives you an indication just how fast our riders are moving at the very front of the race. Now already round through the woodland and about to drop down. So at the moment, two leaders behind. It is Michael van Toren out with Joris Nieuwenhuis, who pulled a little bit of a gap out on the riders behind. Still a big train chasing here. So Michael van Toornout, the Belgian rider, leading the taller rider, and was challenging for the overall win in the World Cup Series until illness took him out of the round. And could have decided that was at Benidorm in Spain. So Van Toornout finishing up and able to challenge for the win, and the winning the series overall going to Laurens Fiek. So a lot of history between those riders on their commercial teams that they ride throughout the season as well. A little bit further down that group, you're just seeing Kevin Kuhn on a good ride, looking like he's living up to expectation. But Mathieu van der Poel really putting the pressure on here. Wout van Aert is having to answer this. You can see Van der Poel really just pulling on those bars. It's body language when he starts to attack. He really starts to wind it. You just see him breaking hard there. As Van Toornout leading them up on to the banking here. Well, Boris is in the mix, just a little bit further down from this group, but Van Toornout is starting to wind this up. And we got out from the non-Belgian Dutch riders. Thomas Minker in 16th place, Michael Boris in 17th, Mason in 18th. They're all in that group. Clement Venturini in there from France, a rider who had an absolutely astounding run at the French around Besançon, challenging up in the lead and then in that battle for the places. Just really missing out on a podium, but these two riders are too expected to challenge. Wout van Aert still tracking that back wheel of Van der Poel as they come diving down. So over this shorter bridge on this lap, drop down, carry a little bit more speed, more momentum. You can just see that wheel of Van Aert just popping up as he came up on to the bridge. Very easy to carry too much pace, too much speed into this right-hand turn, left-hand turn complex here. And you see riders very close to those metal barriers that edge the sides of the course. As riders head on lap 2. Riders know that the commissaire teams, the race referees, will be working out how many laps the riders are going to do. And that is based on getting them to that 1 hour of racing window. This is our group of riders behind the race for third place, right the way down to about 23rd, if not 33rd place. That group is together as the leaders up over the planks. Both riders taking the same line that they did last time down there, slightly different on the way through. Doesn't pay to follow the same line down behind a rider if you can avoid it coming through. If the rider in front has an issue, maybe hits the floor, then if you're taking that different line, it gives you the option to move out and round. The riders will practice multiple lines on the way through to make sure that they know not just where they're going to go if it all goes right, but where they're going to go if it all goes wrong as well. But these two so experienced, multi-time World Championships with Mathieu van der Poel here at Hoogerheide. He's actually taken 5 wins on this circuit. The only time Wout van Aert has won on this circuit previously was in the 2014 World Championships when he took the under-23 title. But it's now Van Aert up on to the front, Van der Poel behind, but that is not an attacking Van der Poel. This is riding through a pace gap. Coming in was 26 things with Gerber Kuipers, the rider who's leading behind. Now, look over the shoulder there by Van der Poel, just saying, are you actually going to come through, do any work today? He just eases right off. Well, how much poker playing are they going to do? The gap at the moment at the line, 22 seconds. Between the riders and the gaps just starting to open, the groups starting to break a little bit further apart under the pressure of the racing up at the front. So Lois Roulier and Filippo Fontana in and through Timo Rugg, the new Swiss champion, comes through taking that title from Kevin Kuhn this season. Oh, Van der Poel just hopping across from one lane to another. They're not wanting to get trapped on that left-hand side. Well, shot across from Van der Poel. Is that for a change of bike, a change of track maybe? See Wout van Aert now up on to the front, leading this duo in. So Drone tries to stay with the riders. He's going to have to cut a few corners, I think, to stay with these two as they come up here. Now Van der Poel kicking out of that corner. He just doesn't want to lose any ground to Wout van Aert on here. Into the descent they go. Now Van Aert just having a little bit of distance here. Just trying to take a look down to see there's no issues with that bike of Van der Poel. The riders can ride if they do get a puncture. They can ride on those tyres, just looking to see if there is an issue there. They've gone for very fast tyres today, so the thicker, more knobbly treads, they basically give you more rolling resistance. They're harder to move at speed, at pace, but they give you more grip around the corners. And these riders will push that grip to the limit, irrespective of what time it is. But if you can put on something that rolls faster, you're going to save yourself a lot of energy. Now behind the gaps are opening, you can see that we have got Gerben Kuipers at the moment, just starting to stretch the group out with Michael Van Toren out behind, the two Belgian riders coming through. But it's Kuipers at the moment who has the head there. Then it's Laurens Vink of Belgium. Just a look to the left-hand side there. Oh, that was a real mean look going across from Kevin Kuhn. That was a stop slowing us down here. I think Vink just backing off the pace. There is definitely tactics at play here to allow the two Belgians up the road, because that will ensure they have got a slightly easier run. Now Van der Poel on the charge here as they come up onto his back. Again, he opens the throttle as he kicks down. He's looking to try and break him here as they go up. He's trying to break Van Aert early in this race. So Van Aert out of their saddle. Van der Poel buries himself coming in and through, and that is another attack, and another attack answered by Wout van Aert as they come up into the left-hand turn, come sweeping round. These riders kicking out immense wattage, immense power as they come out and through. As Van der Poel goes to pass that, but so clearly not going in this time around. So here you go, up over the top of the bridge. It was that kick, that initial kick over, looking to take Van Aert by surprise. Clearly not want to go that pace, carried a lot of speed into that first step. It levelled up onto the second one. He continued to kick. Looks down, looks between his legs, looking for that front wheel of Van Aert. He sees it's not all that far behind. He backs off, shuts down that attack. And this is, I think, how we're going to see the initial part of this race now continue onwards. So we are on lap 3 of 10 laps here today, and at the moment we have two leaders clear. Expected to at the front of the race at Van der Poel and Van Aert. Behind it's Kuipers Van Toren out, the chasing duo at 27 seconds, and then this big group being led by Kevin Kuhn, who are in pursuit of two race leaders though. The other side of that absolute sea of fans down here in Hoogerheide. So heading out and away from that section, it was Van der Poel on the front. He'll lead them up towards the barriers to break the hurdles. All of those names interchangeable depending on what your location is as to which one is appropriate. Behind, you can just see Michael Van Toren out and Gerben Kuipers. Kuipers, a rider at the moment who started off this race 24th in the world rankings. The rankings decided by points allocated by performances in races. At the moment, it is Van der Poel on a quick kick out from those hurdles. The more comfortable you are, the better you are at going over those planks. The quicker you're going to accelerate up, the more comfortable you're going to be, the quicker you're going to get yourself composed and kick in. It can only be a difference of fractions of a second, but every little bit counts, and every time you can make somebody work harder than maybe they're comfortable with, that is another point in which you're going to be able to close that gap down or put them under pressure. Well, the shouts coming out for Matthew van der Poel there. Up over the plates we go. You could just see Van Aert there not getting that absolutely nailed. See the time difference. It came in right on the wheels as he went over. Van der Poel, clean straight line. Van Aert just clipping them, just going off at an angle. Opens up the gap, but they're back together once again. Now Van Aert just takes on board a gel. Looks like just fueling up for a little bit more energy there as he comes down through that stretch. Just taking a look at Van der Poel stuck back onto his wheel. They come up to the line. Through they go. Well, the wall of noise following the riders right the way up this straight from when they hit that tarmac, the asphalt, all the way up to this right-handed turn. An absolutely incredible din being generated by the spectators who keep it going. Well, there was a look over the shoulder. Come on, you do a turn here. Tell me, get a turn in. Well, Kuipers is being told to get on with it there by Van Torenhout. And Van Torenhout, the more experienced rider, telling him to get up the front and do a turn. Meanwhile, it looks like the French are now moving up on to the front here. Clement Venturini, who has come to amazing form at the end of the season, looking very good as he led them through there. So Venturini going through with Kuhns, Fick, Mason, Isbit, Van der Haar, Van der Poel together. As we see our leaders coming sweeping around that fast turn. So our camera tracking down across towards this tight left-hand turn. The three turns have been really instrumental in some of the previous World Championships and Grand Prix Andrew van der Poel's. The World Cups have been raced here. At the moment, that is still running very fast. The weather's so dry that actually it's more dusty than it is muddy. And that is definitely something that's characterised the back end of the season. The long season that started off way back in Waterloo in the World Cups back in October, that ran all the way to Bessans on the weekend before this. You see some very, very fast running. There are still domestic races in some of the minor series to race for after this. Who's going to be wearing that jersey? Which of these two past world champions are going to be pulling on that rainbow jersey at the end? Unless they take each other out, you can't see that gap coming back. It's currently at 25 seconds. So Van Aert just coming in hot there, just dropping that back wheel in. Both riders dabbing that foot down as on to this section of climb. Van Aert wanted to stay up on to the front. They're going to drop down to the triple bridge where we saw Van der Poel attacking out of it, coming in the opposite direction last lap. So close between these two. That looks like this battle is going to continue on a while longer. Yeah, Van der Poel, this is where he attacked last time. Is he going to do the same this time? That'd be incredibly predictable, and Van Aert very aware of where Van der Poel was going over the bridge, but this is the long climb. Now are we going to see Van Aert open up this time and try and put Van der Poel under pressure? Camera zooming in there, I think just exaggerating the distance between nothing in it at the moment. Van Aert not doing a long effort there. Maybe he'd have a chance to break them as we see Van Torenhout going up on to that same section of climb, taking that right-hand turn. Kuipers now just being pushed a little bit further back here. So Kevin Kuipers looking like he's under a little bit of pressure from Michael Van Torenhout. Michael Van Torenhout, a rider who's had a silver medal back in 2018. course in 2018 on the Valkenburg course. Really a different beast to this at Hoogerheide. Definitely seeing a different rider, but Michael Van Torenhout having a great season this season, definitely coming back to his best once again, challenging right the way through the Cyclo-cross World Cup as these two riders are on to the bridges, heading back out to VIP for the last time this lap. So only one real race line through here at the speed these riders are going as they come into this session. There's no way of going past. You're not going to have enough grip if you're going to try and put the pressure on. What you're going to do is try and force them to take out the rider in front. Absolutely flat turns. Have to lean the bike using the tread, the edge of the tyre there to get grip. Continuing to keep that gas pedal pushed all the way down to the floor. The gap between the leaders and these two chasers still at 26 seconds. The big chasing pack of riders currently at 41 seconds behind. Well, Van Aert just drifting across slightly there into towards Mathieu van der Poel, and that means these two riders together. So after that initial skirmish, after the push by Van der Poel, both riders together, are we going to see somebody try and put something in on the climb? They're not going to separate. I don't think it's coming through to the steps. Both very, very good on the run-up. Very fast feet, incredibly quick. So both race leaders down onto the tarmac. The rivalry between the Netherlands and Belgium continues onwards. It really does show itself in the battles of Van Aert and Van der Poel, the two biggest nations when it comes to cyclocross for a long, long time. Traditionally, the nations that will fight it out for that race win, who can put those volume of riders down onto the start line in all those categories. Well, at the moment, nothing to choose between their two biggest stars as they come down. The sea of fans behind us, an ocean of colour behind. Every single barrier, there's hardly a space anywhere. The only places where there aren't people is where they're not allowed in to get, and there's a few people in there as well. So Mason, and now on the front of this group, he just took a little bit of a look by looking to see if there was going to be any assistance. So Cameron Mason, who's had a great run of results, he's peaking for just the right time. He started off his season well. He's really come good towards the end of the racing. He is an outside tip for a podium by many. He's been favoured by my co-hosts on the Crosscast, and we recorded our pre-race show and highlighted this. I'm quite looking forward to seeing who's won in the competition in terms of points allocated at the end of this, and we did have a difference of opinion over these two as to who was going to come through to take the victory at the end of the races. It's going to be very interesting as this race unfolds. We're on lap 5 of 10. We're approaching the half an hour of racing at the moment. Two race leaders clear, being chased up by a further two riders. So at the moment it's the Netherlands with Mathieu van der Poel in the lead. Second, third and fourth are all Belgian riders, with Wout van Aert glued to that back wheel of Mathieu van der Poel. Then it's Gerben Kuipers and Michael van Torenhout in third and fourth. Fifth place, currently Great Britain's Cameron Mason. A Belgium trio of Ali Isabit, Niels van der Put and Laurens Fiek in 6th, 7th and 8th places. But at the moment they are 43 seconds down on the race leaders, with Kuipers and Van Torenhout sandwiched in between at 30 seconds down on the race lead. Well, when the weather's colder, you'll see Mathieu van der Poel start the race with gloves on, and he will quite literally take the gloves off when he really means business. That's not going to be the case today. Has been known to throw the shades to the team in the pits as well, but definitely under pressure on his home course here. More people backing Wout van Aert in the run-up to this race has been the run who's going to take away the victory, and maybe just giving Van Aert that psychological advantage of being able to sit behind and just keep an eye on what Van der Poel's doing now. Van Aert up on to the side there, just overlapping the wheels slightly on Van der Poel. Pushes down the left-hand side now. Is this a move by Van Aert coming? Well, if he did, he absolutely signposted it was coming. He rolled up on the shoulder, coming up over the top, and now we start to see the power unload here. Van der Poel's having to pull that bike behind. This is Van Aert now, putting in the turn. It's trying to open a little bit of a gap. That climb up, one of the best sections to do that. So down the side he came into this bank, and then out of the saddle on this second step, just kicks again. So out from that turn they come, nothing to separate them once again. Here we go, dropping it down and through the two leaders. That gap currently at 34 seconds to this. This is two riders, both Belgians, just taking the shouts from the side. The riders will race for their continental teams, their commercial teams through the duration of the season, and it'll be the same mechanics, it'll be the same managers out of the side. We've seen Sven Nys talking to his riders at the side of the start, finishing straight, talking to Lars van der Haan, Joris van Nieuwenhuizen, the run up to this. Sharon van Anrooy in the preceding race, the under-23 women's race. Well, you know the shouts have been coming out from the pit area, going across to Van der Poel, to Van Aert, to all of these riders. And the riders now in national colours for the World Championships. At the moment, it's the light blue with the black, yellow and red bands of Belgium on the front. Wout van Aert going to lead in now. Is Mathieu van der Poel going to put in another move in? Here he goes up alongside him. He wants to lead coming in. Looking to force a mistake from Van Aert there, and he kicks out from those barriers once again. He senses that that is where he has that little bit of an advantage on Van Aert, and Van Aert now is going to have to squeeze back in. He's going to roll in onto that back wheel across the top here. It's not all that long ago that we were seeing those hurdles. They were right down by the VIP area in those lower hiders. We didn't see them as far around the circuit and as close to the finish. They've moved further round. And I was watching the interview with Andre van der Poel on the Belgian TV coverage, and they were saying that did you move this to favour Mathieu? And with a cheeky wink at his eye, a cheeky look at his eye, he said, oh no, would I do a thing like that, basically? And I'll tell you something, he would, because he's going to need everything here. So here we go, Mathieu takes that left-hand line. He wants to go in to those barriers first. Look at the distance gain now. That shot's showing so clearly how he opened up that little bit of a distance as they came up through. They're just coming underneath the finishing line now, past our commentary box. Both riders out of the saddle, moving up on to the top section of this tarmac of the asphalt before taking the right-hand turn. So 10-lap race. Riders on the way around into the next lap now. Behind as the gap started to open, Van Torenhout was pressurising his countryman here. I'll tell you something, that is not working together. Now, Michael Van Torenhout and Ellie Isbit right on the same team normally, and they were notorious for working over Lawrence Fick in the early part of the racing. As we see a move now by Van der Haar as they come up the roadway here, just looking to break up this group behind. Van der Haar in 5th, Isbit in 6th, Mason in 7th, Van der Poot in 8th, Lawrence Fick in 9th place at the moment, Venturini in 10th, and Hendricks in 11th position. So the riders are coming in very quickly, and those are riders in 4th to 10th place, while 2 riders together in 4th and 5th, and then the rest of that group are coming through, all fighting for positions. They come through, and it was Van der Haar who really was winding it up a little bit further back. Just seen Orta come through, just leading a duo through. Now Van der Haar just running wide there. He came in a slightly different line, runs wider, just losing a little bit of ground there. Saw the body move to correct that little bit of a slide as he come down into this descent. You can hear the shares from the side of the course for whoa, and they wanted to see him make a move to put the pressure on. But Van der Poel still in the front, not relinquishing that lead. Goes in next little diggle, next little attack, next little bit of pressure being put on. Answered once again by Van Aert behind. So watch this line. You can just see Van Aert came in a little bit tighter and then drifts wide as he loses the rut. The back wheel slides out, and then he has to get out of the saddle, put down extra power, put in that extra piece of effort to get back in and to get back on to the wheel. He won't want to let any kind of gap go. If either rider senses that they've opened more than a couple of meters, they are going to just open the throttles. They'll turn on the nitrox, the afterburners, and really try and hammer that home. The thin end of a very big wedge. If you let any kind of distance go between you and the rider you're with in this front two. Meanwhile, as they go over the bridge in one direction, this is the fight for 3rd and 4th place. At the moment, Michael Van Torenhout continuing just to stretch the legs of Gerben Kuipers. Kuipers at the moment, well, he's not all that far behind, but he wouldn't be sitting that far back unless he was really starting to struggle with the pace being set down by Michael Van Torenhout. Now this is where Lars van der Haar would put the pressure on. He'd try to break up 3 Belgian riders, 1 rider from Great Britain, and then Lars van der Haar. They are being chased by the Frenchman, by Clement Venturini. But they are at the moment fighting for the minor places. So just taking a look back at where we saw Michael Van Torenhout just opening up a gap, but he well truly opened it there on Gerben Kuipers. Kuipers not going with Van Torenhout. Van Torenhout might be the countrymate of him, but they are looking for individual glory here. Van Aert on the wheel of Van der Poel, not wanting a surprise to be sprung on him, but this man has gone clear. He's up into 3rd place. It's a rider who, in terms of elite medals, only has the 1 at the moment. That was in 2018 with that silver medal. Lars van der Haar has got a collection, and he is the rider from the Netherlands chasing Van der Haar with 2 bronze medals. He's also got 2 silver medals. He's desperately would love to take that rainbow jersey, but he's come up against 2 absolutely phenomenal, 2 riders of their generation. Absolute legends, global stars beyond cyclo-cross into the road. I'm sure that many of you will have watched the battles as they've made their way around the spring classics into the big tours. every time over there. Van der Poel just that little bit smoother, that little bit more comfortable just on that section. Every time he does that, that's saving him energy. It is costing Van Aert a little bit more energy. It's leveling that playing field against each other there, and maybe just swinging the pendulum that coming into this race was favoured to be swinging in Van Aert's direction. And if you add that to the great rides that are done by Van der Poel on the fast circuits, particularly when we saw that absolutely blisteringly quick race at Benidorm, maybe now we're going to see a slightly different end to this race than maybe many were expecting. The pressure, heat on both riders by their nations, by the public. Well, Van Aert actually complaining of the volume of people going to his house, knocking on the door, looking for autographs. Both riders know they're expected to perform. They are absolutely consummate bike riders, and they deal with the pressure. Absolutely incredible, but how much pressure they manage to push aside. As we take a little look back into this chasing group, Van der Haar, Isabit, Kuipers and Svik, with Mason just trailing 2 or 3 seconds at our last time check. He's going to want to get back up with that group. A little bit further down through the race fields, Thomas Main moving up into 11th place, Timon Roeg in 12th, going up in front of Kevin Koen. So the non-Dutch and Belgian riders in the mix with Loris Rodier currently 19th. It's Arts at the moment in 20th position. Just moving a little bit further down, Joshua Dubau and Fabien Dubé in 22nd and 23rd position. But everybody left trailing these two. Now, Michael Vantora now currently at 30 seconds behind the two riders, so a mistake by them, and he might be looking to clean up a little bit of the places here, but look at this move being made. The chase on by Lars Van der Haar has come through. It's swept up Gerben Kuipers. Now into this section. Wout van Aert leading through this time, not wanting to be on the back foot as they come through. And these Mathieu van der Poel following, having to stay in the wheel tracks this time round. Now can Van Aert start to put some pressure on Mathieu van der Poel coming through here. It has been traditionally well on the back wheel. Now Mathieu sat behind. I always sense that Van Aert wants to be like a track sprinter, almost riding me looking backwards all the way down there, just watching, hoping that he's not going to see the Dutchman come up on his shoulder to put in the attack, waiting for that moment. Can't afford to rush, can't afford to let any kind of gap go. Van der Poel, will he put a move on to the bridge? He's sat hanging behind here. Now, Van der Poel was looking left there. From that section of the bridge, you can look down and look for what's happening in the chase behind. So not just keeping an eye on where he is against Van Aert, he's also watching what's transpiring behind him. Now, of course, that gives you a long look down. You go over the bridge at the riders coming into that woodland section. I think most of us just like to be able to ride anywhere near as fast as these. They don't have the wherewithal to keep an eye on what's going on behind them. Now on to the bank. Here we go. He's gone and done it again. He's put the attack into the same spot. Van Aert knew that was coming. He must have been aware of that. And now Van der Poel is kicking again. Is he going to snap him this time round? The gap is bigger. He's got more distance between Van der Poel and Van Aert. Is it going to be enough? This could be the winning move if he can make it stick. But look at Van Aert there. He almost throws a bike track sprinter-esque into that corner in his pursuit of Van der Poel. Now the gap is coming back down again. So Van der Poel almost slides around that corner. Two wheels going sideways as they come up here, carrying the speed, carrying the pace in past the pit here. But that attack by Van der Poel has been neutralised by Wout van Aert. Maybe that's going to give a little bit more hope to Van der Poel that he can break him maybe at a later stage in the race. We're on lap 7 of 10. There's still plenty of racing left as we approach almost 44 now for nearly 45 minutes of racing complete. Here it comes. Oh, Van Aert must have known that was coming. He had Van der Poel behind. Van der Poel had tried it earlier on in the race. This is then the big kick up the hill that followed, and this is where Van Aert had to respond. Well, that attack being limited, and it's the same colours now in 3rd and 4th place. Lars van der Haar with Ellie Iserbyt behind him. They've put a little bit of time in, 3 seconds into Michael van Torenhout and Gerben Kuipers. The gap opening back to Cameron Mason currently in 7th place, and he's got Svik and Van der Poel not too far behind him. So 1 and 2 together, Van der Poel and Van Aert. Then it's Van der Haar and Iserbyt in 3rd and 4th place. 5th place is Van Torenhout with Kuipers right on his heels. Then a little bit of a gap, 11 seconds back to Cameron Mason. Then it's Laurens Svik, 1 minute down on our race leaders. He's got Van der Poel with him. Then it's Venturini in no man's land, sandwiched between Van der Poel and Timon Rook and Kevin Kuhn, the 2 Swiss in the company of Thomas Bean and Pim Roja. So in to the planks we go. Now surely Van der Poel's going to put another attack in here. He's opened up a little bit more distance. A little nibble. Is he going to take away a big bite now of time? He's continuing to push here. You can just see, just throwing the bike down into that dip, then lifting it back up. He takes a little bit of a look back. But the Belgian shadow is behind him. So onto the steps to go, though, how they exit this will be critical. Van Aert closing up on to the heels of Van der Poel, and this is where Van der Poel's technical ability going over here really plays. You can see him putting the power down the moment that bike was on its way down. He almost didn't wait until he got the wheels down on to the grass. He was accelerating away, and now he looks back over his shoulder. The crowd here in Hoogerheide are being treated to a real duel between these two. Well, they've got plenty of time to play this out. They're not going to have to worry about the chase behind. 43 seconds back to Lars van der Haar, and taking a look down at these two, still looking super cool as they come down past the commentary box here. Now, this is the fight for 3rd and 4th place, and they haven't got a huge distance to the riders behind. You can see immediately behind, that is Van Torenhout and Gerben Kuipers dropping down in behind, but remember, Gerben Kuipers and Michael van Torenhout have been caught by Lars van der Haar and Ellie Iserbyt, and that may well be telling when we move on as we see Van der Haar continue to push up this climb. Well, the body language from Van der Haar is one of a rider chasing Iserbyt, of the rider who's trying to stay with him. Van Torenhout wants to go with him. Kuipers looking the more tired of the 4 riders who've just come through the line. No way of telling who's more tired between these two as they come dropping it down here. At the moment, the attacks generally coming from Mathieu van der Poel onto Wout van Aert. Van Aert may well be waiting for one big move. We've seen him put in a move on that big climb as they come out and away from the bridge. Mathieu van der Poel choosing to use the bridge to go over in front and carry maybe a little bit more pace onto the climb. It may well be that this is going to come down to a mistake. It's going to come down to an error. A slight error on any of these turns through here could well open a gap that someone can exploit. You've seen Van Aert close the gap down after just losing a little bit of ground before through this section. So Van der Hart with that foot out, Elizabeth doing the same. Both pairs of riders, very similar physiques. The two bigger riders, the two riders leading this out. They've got big firepower, big engines, put down big number of watts. They have a higher centre of gravity, a different way of cornering. Lars van der Haar, along with Elizabeth, very similarly built riders, just a little bit smaller, a little bit shorter, a little bit less body mass, put out a little bit less power, but a lower centre of gravity. But very interesting that this course already has brought the two bigger riders up at the front, and then the two riders with a very similar build behind them. Kuiper's favouring the build of van der Haar and Isabeth, as does Mason. The slightly taller Van Torenhout, well, he's as tall as the two riders in the race lead, but not as powerful, and that will make a difference as we come in to the finish. This course suiting riders who can put the power down, who have the ability to ride at higher speeds here. And the gap at the moment between our two leaders and the chasers behind, 31 seconds back to Lars van der Haar at the moment. A little bit of a gap going back to Elizabeth. The two leaders, though, up over that same bridge where we saw that attack coming from Van der Poel. But Van der Haar around these turns, just opening a little bit of distance here to Elizabeth. Elizabeth takes a slightly tighter line around that turn, kicks out of the saddle. Behind him, Kuipers and Van Torenhout making the way down along this section here. It is Van Torenhout leading. Then it's Cameron Mason who comes around that turn. Mason showing that the end of season form still staying with him as he comes out from that corner. And Mason at the moment ahead of the World Cup winner. That's Laurens Vink, who's behind him. So in absolutely class company there. Niels van der Putten, then Clement Venturini, Thomas Main, Kevin Kuhn, Felipe Orts-Comwa. In that order, running us down to the end of the top 14. Now let's see what they're going to do on this section. Left-hand turn. Already all about keeping safe around here, not losing any distance by making any crazy mistakes as you come through. Van der Haar, though, up against Isabeth. These two have battled so many times before. They're so similar in their riding style. If it had been cold, you'd have put your money on Lars van der Haar, because Isabeth generally doesn't go as well in the colder, wetter conditions. Lars van der Haar seems to revel in it the tougher the conditions get. However, it is sunny, it's relatively warm, and it is drying out, and that, I think, is going to produce a real battle between the riders in third and fourth, first and second. This was a predicted battle, and that's what we're getting now. Time to run up towards the planks, the barriers, the hurdles. This is where we've seen Van der Poel put the pressure on Van Aert. Is that what's going to happen in the run up there this time? Will Van Aert try and stifle that by moving up alongside or in front of Van der Poel? So onto the climb in towards the planks there, and Van Aert just staying in touch there. And again, just that little bit smoother from Van der Poel. Van Aert, though, getting it done. It may not be as pretty, but he's not lost any ground. Well, both riders together as they come up on to the steps. A little bit of a push behind Van Aert, just pushing that pedal back to make sure that the pedals are in the right place, that he's not got the left-hand pedal forward. Reverse that right-hand pedal forward, so your rider's flicking the bike up with the right arm, the left hand behind, moving the pedals. Van Aert actually going up on to a 50 chainring, so due to be one of the bigger Chainring's used a real fast course. The riders on Friday were absolutely flying in what was good conditions, and the same is true at the end of the weekend. It did dip in the middle. We saw a little bit more precipitation, but these riders, as they approach the line, they're going to come up here. 53 minutes 40 of racing done. They come through, and now Van Aert moves up on to the front to take this right-hand turn. This time is now running out for the riders to make a move. They won't want it to come down to a sprint, much as we maybe want that to happen. And Van der Haar putting the pressure on Iserbyt here. He takes a look over his shoulder there, just encouraging Iserbyt to come up on and through. Van Aert continuing to keep the pace high at the front of the races over the bridge. You can see Van der Haar leading through to the moment. It is Van Aert, Van der Poel, Van der Haar, followed by Iserbyt. They are top of four. Further back, it's Kuipers and Van Torenhout. Then Van der Putte with Mason and Speak. And then further still at the end of the top 10, come up Venturini. So into lap 9 of 10. The two leaders went clear. We've seen a push, and they're so well matched that almost you can see they don't want to use up energy unnecessarily. They don't want to put an attack in that is not going to pay off. But I'm not sure that either of the riders can land something big enough in one blow, and that's why we're seeing Van der Poel trying again. Van Aert, though, at the moment he's the one playing poker. He's just sitting there, just putting the odd little bit of pressure down, but no major explosive attack. The gap just starting to open back to Van der Poel on this technical section, as you'd expect. Will Van der Poel roll onto the wheel? See if Van Aert just stretching it out a little bit. The higher speeds put more distance in between. Coming around that turn, well, Van der Poel having to get out of the saddle to go onto the wheel of Van Aert there. So this is where it was all set up. This is the section that caused that little bit of a slide of that back wheel. That little innocuous slide enough to put Van der Poel under pressure, and he's had to close the gap back down on to Van Aert, who was really aware that there was a little bit more distance. They're ready to know where each other are. They can sense and they can feel them. They can hear the crowd. They can hear the noise of the bikes every now and then in between the roars of the crowd here today. Well, both riders taking a little bit of a look across, seeing where the riders behind are. It is Lars van der Haar and Eli Iserbyt. So Iserbyt, a former World Cup winner. He's a rider who is capable of taking a win over the top of the rest of the riders, but often in the shadow. That's these two are very much cyclo-cross specialists, as we see the two riders who have thrilled us on the road, as well as that cyclo-cross coming back round once again. Now Van Aert on the front this time round. Van der Poel moving on the right-hand side there. Yeah, I think he was looking to see if he could put a push that was going to put Van Aert in trouble, but Van Aert staying in the saddle and really starting to pressure. That sees that nothing has come of that. So Van der Haar missed a little bit of a climb, just opening up the gap to Eli Iserbyt of the two. Van der Haar looking like he's the one prepared to take this on. So we're situated only about 5 miles or 8 kilometres from the border with Belgium here in Hoogerheide in the Netherlands. The fans coming packing in from all over the globe to come in and watch the racing here throughout the course of the weekend. At the moment, the very last race of the Men's Elite Championship is into its final 2 laps. We're on lap 9 of 10. We are approaching the out mark at the moment. You can just see there is nothing to choose between them here. Foot out there by Wout van Aert. I'm not sure that he got that line just right. Both riders will be getting more tired. They're going to be feeling the effects. Yes, you could be the best in the world, but when you are racing flat out on your limit, that is when you start to make mistakes, and it's only going to take one mistake for the other rider to pounce on that and to try and go clear. Yep, Wout van Aert going offline there. Mathieu van der Poel having to take his foot out, just take the pace off there as they came round to make sure he didn't run into the back wheel, which could have caused him even more problems. So Van der Poel just winding up. You could just see his body language there, just starting to wind up as he came in to the planks. And Van Aert quickly on to the wheel. So into the descent, the traditional lines. Van Aert though pressurising here, just going up and to the back wheel, making sure there's no distance loss, making sure that Mathieu van der Poel knows that he's got Van Aert with him. And if it came down to a sprint, it would be about their tactical nous on the way through. Both absolutely phenomenal sprinters, and we've seen them wear plenty of the green and yellow jerseys and racing to sprint victories in the classics. Well, here you go, the crowd going to get another look here to see what they're going to do on this last lap. Up on to the side of this finishing straight they come. There isn't a spare centimetre with a view of the finishing straight. They come up underneath the line. The bell rings with one more lap to go. It is the last run, 1 lap left to go. Who is going to take this? It is going to come down to that nail-biting finish if it comes onto that sprint up there. Your guess is going to be as good as mine as to who's going to take that. Who's got anything left? Van der Aert in his own private battle now with Ellie Isabit as the gap is open behind the 18 seconds behind the leaders. So the two riders on the front can't afford too much finessing. They can't back off too much. They are over the top of the bridge from the asphalt on to the grass. So once again, they go around past pit number 1, and the pit's numbered in the order with which the riders are pushing. Now goes over the top. He doesn't want to be sat behind here. This means he wants to lead into the next section. He's setting himself up to come in to this section at the front. So a little bit of a kick out here, just that little bit of a rise before we drop down in towards the next turn. Now Van Aert out of there, out of the saddle, and this is a move coming here. He is just putting the pressure on Mathieu van der Poel there. He doesn't want Van der Poel right on his heels, but it does allow Van der Poel to pick his line through there. Now are we going to see a run onto the back wheel of Van Aert. Van Aert has shown he was pushing there. He just wanted to make sure he had that position. He didn't want to see anything happen there. He wanted to be where he had a view of this technical part of the course. So fast descent, big long sweeping right, tight 90-degree left-hander coming up. They're going to carry a lot of speed down here. Into this right-hand turn, all the way out to the barriers at the side there. Both the riders are rolling around. Van der Poel is on the wheel of Van Aert, and Van Aert is just easing off here as Van der Poel moves up over into the lead here. He's got the position at the front. Not sure either rider wants to be at the front. If you pressure at the front, you're immediately seen by the rider behind. If you can come from behind and rush at the rider, you've got a chance to take them by surprise. At the moment, Mathieu van der Poel making sure he's not losing any kind of ground, any advantage. He stays on the front. Little look across of Van der Poel, still aware of what's going on behind him, but the gap has really opened up. 24 seconds and now to the chasers in 3rd and 4th place. They're not going to come back now. It's going to take an alien abduction to take these two riders out of the running for the front. They're not going to take each other out. They're far too good for that. But are we going to see a move on the bridge? Now, Wout van Aert is sat behind Mathieu van der Poel. This is where Van der Poel is putting an attack in. Meanwhile, his bit has gone over the top now. Van der Poel out of the saddle. Van Aert rolls up alongside the back wheel there. And here we go into the big climb. Surely we're going to see a move from these riders. They're going to both want to wind it up here. And Van der Poel just runs wide in front of Van Aert this time round. At the moment, it is Van der Poel on the front of Van Aert sitting on the wheel, closing that down, keeping it under control. Now, will these riders rue that as an opportunity missed when they come in to the finish? It's the biggest, longest climb on the way through, but if you put a lot of energy in there, it may well be that they know that they're not going to have anything left as they come up the climb towards the flanks. They may not have anything left for the sprint. In previous races here at the World Championships in Hoogerheide, you've seen the gaps open mid-race, and whether that has been the races between people like Nisla Stibar, it's been any of the preceding races, we've seen those gaps open sooner. This is going to come down to this last half a lap. Oh, you can just see Van der Poel is itching to have a go. He's looking on the outside there, just drags the bike around the side on it to the penultimate bridge. We've got one more bridge section that's going to come up here, but this is where we've seen mistakes before. I think we've just seen a little bit of a wind up in the pace here. Very easy to make an error coming round here, but they keep it rubber side down. Wout van Aert is looking for the move. Will Van der Poel try and jump him as they go on the run up into the hills, then really hammer it home as they come through. He's waiting on the shoulder. He's pressurising Van Aert. Van Aert is not making any mistakes though. Who's going to take this? It's so close between the two now. Van Aert picks the speed up here. He's just lifting the pace. He doesn't want to see Van der Poel come in front. Who will lead in to the planks? Van Aert is out of the saddle here. He's really putting the pressure on. He sits back down again. It's going to come down to this now. Van der Poel goes over the side there, and he hasn't made it count. It's going to come down to a sprint. Surely between these riders there are no more trigger points. There's nowhere else you can put in a race-winning move. Surely on this course they are going to be coming in, and it's about who goes in first. As you drop onto the tarmac, it is a long way. You've got a downhill where you can take a rush at the rider if you are second rider on, but it means you're second rider into the technical descent. Van Aert clearly wants to stay on the front here. He could force or try to force Van der Poel in, but it's going to be about who's got speed now. Van der Poel puts a quick run up there. He wants to remount at the same time. It's going to come down to this. The last two sections have got this traverse and descent in. They've got to keep it smooth. They're not going to make any mistakes at this stage. Van der Poel pressurising on the inside, and it's going to come down to this sprint. They don't want to start too early. It is a tight tailwind, and now he jumps. He's on this side. Here he goes. It's a kick from Mathieu van der Poel. Can Van Aert answer him? They're on the run up here on the climb. I'm not sure that Van Aert has got enough. It's going to be Mathieu van der Poel who takes it. Van der Poel takes the race win. He's the world champion as he comes sprinting through, and Wout van Aert had no answer to it. Behind, Ellie Isabit is going to make it 2 Belgian medals. He comes in ahead of Lars van der Haar from the Netherlands. What a finish as they came in. Van der Poel, he got the jump and he took Van Aert on the way through, and Van der Poel continues his run here in Hoogerheide, and he continues his domination in terms of the wins in the World Championships in the elite category. Behind, It was a battle between Lars van der Haar and Ellie Iserbyt. You could just see that battle going through. So Iserbyt went in and through. But look at that. He's ridden all the way round to the pit to go find the cruiser. And you can just see what it means to him on home ground. He races his way in and through. And you can see, good ride there. Very pleased. Cameron Mason comes through for 9th place. He's going to be just ahead of Clement Venturini. I think Venturini's going to come through in 10th. So you can see Lars van der Haar comes through, but Mathieu van der Poel, what a ride as he put that sprint down. It all came down to the sprint to the line, and there are still sprints unfolding down on the course as they come through. Looks like Jens Adams getting the better of Kevin Kuhn on the way in, with Simon Rugg and Thomas Main coming through in that group of riders. So it's going to be 14th place for Main, Rugg in 13th, Kuhn in 12th there as they come through. A very tired set of riders are up in front of us. Van der Poel's having to go back up over the bridge. He went that far with the pace on the way round, and he's going to get a massive round of applause from the huge crowd here. The congratulations of his teammates as he's brought back towards the podium. Oh, Van der Poel living not too far from the course. It really is his home ground, his home course here. So heading down to the podium, the riders being brought off, and you can see the congratulations, and no surprise that there's so much emotion after taking the win here.
Zalig, jongen. What the fuck, man?
So Mathieu van der Poel going to get himself cleaned up and ready for the interviews, and we'll no doubt be looking at that over and over again. That was a fantastic sprint coming from behind, just getting the rush on the way through. You got a feel for Lars van der Haar in the run for the medals all the way in to that final sprint, with Ellie Iserbyt just able to take away the bronze medal in front of Van der Haar, who came in 4th place. Michael van Torenhout taking 5th place. Still riders coming in to the finish here, seeing them sprinting their way in, but they were all distanced today by the 2 riders who sprinted it out for race victory. The huge crowds here watched this sprint unfold in front of them, but it was Mathieu van der Poel who took that victory. Wout van Aert just not enough to go on and over the top. And look what it meant. So I think we should hear from our race winner. Let's hear from Mathieu van der Poel.
Mathieu, that was a battle of the ages. Cyclo-cross fans from around the world will remember that for a very long time. Can you just put into words what you're feeling right now?
It's really difficult to describe. I think this is how everybody would say in advance that the race should be in a sprint with me against Wout. And yeah, for sure, it's incredible. I think, yeah, this was for sure in my top 3 of nicest victories all time, and yeah, for sure I'm going to remember this for a long time.
The atmosphere out there was just something that we haven't heard for a very long time. But going into that final lap, I mean, what was going through your mind?
I felt super relaxed, and I think that was maybe the key to win today. I could stay really calm, and I think everybody expected me to make a move at the barriers, but I already knew I just wanted to go to the sprint. I know the sprint here, and yeah, it's super strange. It's difficult to put into words. I worked super hard for this one. I had a few crap races with my back again, and I reset with the team on training camp and worked towards this goal, which I already marked in the beginning of the season. And Yeah. It's super difficult to describe it. I'm just really, really happy.
And as soon as you crossed the line, you and Wout kind of came together, just recognising the battle you just had. I mean, do you have a word for him as well, and how far he pushed you to win that rainbow jersey?
Yeah, I think everybody knows already the story. We push each other already for 10 years, but I think also the crowds, if it was just me or him, would have been different. So I think we both bring each other to a higher level, but also the sport. I've never seen anything like this in cyclocross, and for sure sometimes we are a bit worried about each other, I think, but after our careers we will be really proud about all the battles we had, and I think it's a super cool story we are writing, and it's not the last one. The road season is coming already, and then it will be for sure against him again.
Well, before the road, enjoy the celebrations now. Congratulations.
Well, great to hear that he's already looking forward to the road. I think the cyclocross fans will be reveling in that finish on the way through. What a finish. Watch this as it unfolds. So here we go. You can just see Wout ends up leading this out. Matthew kicks from behind. Wout's watching. He knew it was going to come, but look at that initial acceleration was just so brutal. Now the bar's being pulled all over the place there by Van der Poel, and Van Aert just didn't have the kick to answer that on that section. It goes uphill, and it was enough. And Matthew Van der Poel, as he says, knows this course inside out. It is home turf. It's his home crowd. An absolutely packed race finish, and what a finish for the race win. Well, the photo finish not really needed, I don't think, but that, if it ever you saw a photo finish picture sum up how the riders must be feeling at that point. Van der Poel punching the air with delight. Van Aert hunched down over the handlebars. You've got to feel for Wout van Aert not to be today, and Van der Poel relaxed all the way around. It would have been so easy to end up leading that sprint, and it didn't happen. He didn't take a moment where he could have lost it there if he'd have gone a little bit too early. He put too much effort in too late, but he had a plan, he carried it out. What a rider, and we've got to say, brilliant battle at the front of the race for a World Championship. Great entertainment for all the huge numbers of crowds that are out here. I think the 40,000 sellout ticket attendance is brilliant. It certainly looks to me like it's half as many again. The fight behind, what a race, and again another Belgian-Netherlands battle. This time around it was Ellie Iserbyt who took the sprint on the run to the line. So two Belgian riders on the podium, and it is Matthew Van der Poel who will be stood on the very top step. The crowds are flooding the way up the straight, up the finishing straight, and heading up in towards the podium. So let's take a little bit of a look back at how that race unfolded here today at Hoogerheide at the Cyclo-cross Championships. So off from that start, that fast kick, absolutely critical to come through. Lars van der Haar initially leading the charge up with Matthew Van der Poel on his wheel. Wout van Aert moving up from the second row of the grid up on to the shoulder of Van der Poel as he came in through one long line of riders, all being stretched on the right. That is the power of the big two of cyclo-cross. Van der Poel with repeated attacks really thin the group down as rider after rider struggled to stay with the pace, and in the end it was only Van Aert that could stay with Van der Poel on those fearsome attacks. The two riders clear, and Wout van Aert tracking the back wheel of Matthew Van der Poel for most of the race. When Van Aert came on to the front, Van der Poel very quick and very attentive out of the saddle, trying to close down. Van der Poel tried repeated moves on this, his favourite section, I think, of the course prior to hitting the final sprint, because you could just see he was opening up a gap. Behind, Michael van Torenhout and Gerben Kuipers managed to break clear of a chasing group, but they were soon closed down, and Lars van der Haar and Ellie Isabit sprung clear of the chasing pack. It was two pairs of riders out on the course as we moved into the later stages, with Mathieu van der Poel clearly the smoother of the two leaders as they went over those barriers. Dropping down on to the tarmac, though, for the final time. It was Wout van Aert who led them on at a low pace. Mathieu van der Poel put a huge kick in and continued to put the power down all the way into the finishing line. Wout van Aert with no answer to van der Poel as he crossed the line to become world champion once again. Elizabeth taking the sprint for third from Lars van der Poel. The headlines will be, no doubt, about Van der Poel here in the Netherlands and just how powerful that sprint was. So Mathieu van der Poel taking away the win. Wout van Aert coming through in the same time. Then Isabit 12 seconds back, with Van der Haar just behind him. Van Torenhout, Kuipers, Van der Poel, Svik, Mason and Venturini coming through. Always the riders finishing their great ride by Gerben Kuipers there to take him up into that group. Thomas Main in there behind Kevin Kuhn and Timon Rug inside the top 15, with David Minot leading the group behind through with Pim Romhaar and Conwa in there, and good run in there by the Frenchman Pim Romhaar from the Netherlands, just ahead of Conwa, then Loris Rollier. And you can just see a lot of riders that are really fighting the speed here today. It was absolutely blisteringly quick, and that was translated into just how strung out these groups were. The top 34.5 minutes in, with plenty of riders eliminated out, and you can just see Timo Kielik, the last rider, on the same lap as the race winners. Marcel Meissen, the last rider not to make it into that final lap. So our run is being readied for the final podium of 3 great days of competition that kicked off with our team relay here. We then moved through our junior women's and men's competition, our under-23 women's and men's competition, and our elite women's and men's races. And we've seen some very different races play out as the conditions have changed. It's been dry to start off with, it's dry at the end, and with very slippery conditions in the middle of Saturday, where the riders really were struggling to find any kind of grip at all. Our spectators, though, well, they've been bathed with sunshine on the final day, and no doubt the party tents and the beer tents will be incredibly busy as these riders run in and through. So let's take a look back and let's really enjoy that final run in, the sprint in that decided this championship. I could see just what it meant to him as he went up and over the top there, and the congratulations will continue, I'm sure, for a long time to come. Great riding, great competition, amazing fans down here, and they have the final highlight of the weekend, which will be the presentation of the medals and that rainbow jersey. The World Championships here in Hoogerheide coming to a close with that ceremony, and next year we'll be moving on to an absolute classic of the cross. We're going over to Tabor in the Czech Republic for our next World Championships. I'm really looking forward to seeing that unfold on the course that is notorious for icy conditions and being Baltically cold. Not always the case. That definitely produces some very exciting racing and riders who need to be capable of taking on the technicality there. So our riders are making the way towards the podium, our top three in the race today. And we will be bringing you all of that ceremony, including, of course, the national anthem that will be played out. And what a way to start and finish our championships. And the home fans are going to be ecstatic. Noise coming out from the crowds as they make their way up through the finishing line on the way up past our commentary boxes is huge, and not too many sad faces. I think no matter who you're a fan of, or whether you are a Belgium fan, a fan from the Netherlands or any of the countries, that finish is going to be one that is played time and time again. And what a finish from
gentlemen, welcome to the award ceremony
award ceremony
for the
2023 Cyclo-cross World Championships is about to begin. Let's enjoy watching our riders getting the applause from the crowd and receiving their medals.
Award ceremony of the 2023 UCI Cyclo-cross World Championships in the men elite category.
Prijzentrekking van de wereldkampioenschappen veldrijden 2023 hier in Hoogerheide van de elite mannen.
The medals and the rainbow jersey will be presented by Mr. David Lapartien, our UCI president.
De trui en de medailles worden zometeen overhandigd door de heer David Lapartien, de president van de UCI.
Afterwards, the flowers will be presented by Mr. Dirk Teuns, CEO Eco Installations Europe, our main partner of the World Championships in Hoogerheide.
De bijbehorende bloemen worden zometeen uitgereikt door de heer Dirk Teuns, CEO van Eco Installations Europe, onze main partner van het WK hier in Hoogerheide.
Ladies and gentlemen, in third place and winner of the bronze medal representing Belgium.
Dames en heren, de derde plaats en de winnaar van de bronzen medaille uit België, Elie Issewiet.
Issewiet repeats his bronze medal of last year and steps up on to that third place step.
In second place, winner of the silver medal representing Belgium.
De tweede plaats en de winnaar van de zilveren medaille na een beklijvende sprint uit België, Wout van Aert.
Wout van Aert will be wondering what could have been, or what could he have done. I'm sure he'll be playing that back and not necessarily enjoying that final sprint on the way up there, wondering what else he had.
Then, ladies and gentlemen, in first place, our new UCI World Champion and winner of the gold medal representing the Netherlands.
En dan, dames en heren, hier in Hoogerheide, de nieuwe wereldkampioen bij de elite mannen. De winnaar van de regenboogtrui en de gouden medaille, Mathieu van der Poel.
So Van der Poel taking the race win, being awarded the rainbow jersey, adding to his elite world titles, and he will be no doubt defending that next time we have our Cyclo-cross World Championships in Tabor. At the moment he's going to revel in the moment. Your world champion for 2023. It is Mathieu van der Poel of the Netherlands, homeboy on home turf, takes the win.
CEO van Eco Installations Europe, onze main partner van het WK veldrijden hier in Hoogerheide. Als eerste de bloemen voor de bronzen medaillewinnaar, bloemen voor Elie Issewiet.
So the flowers being presented to the riders, a huge team behind the event here, putting on a fantastic championship and supported by lots of the local companies as well as the local cycling clubs. Without them, the racing just not possible. Fantastic promotion here, and no surprises that there's a huge crowd to watch. Matthew on the top step, as well as Mark van Aert and Ellie Iswiet.
Of our new UCI World Champion. May we have your attention, please, for the national anthem of the Netherlands.
Dames en heren, mag ik uw welgemeende aandacht ter ere van onze nieuwe wereldkampioen veldrijden voor ons nationale volkslied, het Wilhelmus. Hoogerheide, laat het maar horen voor de bronzen medaille van Ellie en zilver van Van Aert en de wereldkampioen Mathieu.
Your medalists here at the UCI 2023 Cyclo-cross World Championships awarded their medals and the World Champions jersey. Ellie Iswiet taking away the bronze medal, Wout van Aert taking away the silver, but the race winner, the World Champion, once again it is Mathieu van der Poel on home ground here, a local resident and a rider who knows these roads and the course inside out, regular winner at Hoogerheide, and put all of that knowledge to good use in that final sprint here today. So he's going to begin his duties, the familiar signing of the jersey, something he's done many times before, and we look forward to seeing him in action in the future. Our riders, of course, heading across to the road, the mountain bike season start. There are still a few cyclo-cross races left in the cyclo-cross season, and going to see our riders out in action there. However, for the main event, what better way to end it than that final sprint? So from me, Matt Payne, from all of the team who've been bringing you the pictures here down in Hoogerheide, it's been an absolute pleasure putting words to the action. Enjoy your riding. Go get on the bike, go have a ride. That's what I'm going to do the moment I get back. I'm going to pretend I'm Mathieu van der Poel in that final sprint. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.